Guys,
What is it, son?
you're not gonna believe this.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Is that a diamond?
Well, it finally happened. After over 200 years of digging, doubting, diving, and dreaming, the Oak Island treasure has been found.
That elevation was 7 feet below sea level. This is another 3 feet beyond. And we know that the deeper you go, this log, it is possible that this is much older than this.
According to the History Channel, this isn't another clue or relic. It's the real deal. The long-running mystery that's fascinated historians, conspiracy theorists, and millions of fans worldwide may finally be solved. But how did we get here? What exactly was discovered? And why does it matter? Let's unpack the incredible story behind the most legendary treasure hunt in North America. The 200-year obsession. Oak Island is a tiny patch of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. You'd probably miss it if you flew over. It's only about 140 acres, shaped like a peanut, surrounded by pine trees and fringed with rocks and tidal flats. But what this island lacks in size, it more than makes up for in mystery. The story begins in 1795, when a teenager named Daniel McGinnis noticed a strange depression in the ground while exploring the island. Curious, he and a few friends started digging. They found layers of logs spaced at regular intervals, like some kind of deliberately constructed shaft. The deeper they dug, the more convinced they became. Someone had buried something here, and they wanted it to stay hidden. That hole became known as the Money Pit, and it's been the subject of obsession, danger, and decades of frustration ever since. Over the years, dozens of companies and individuals tried to reach the bottom. Many went bankrupt in the process. Some lost their lives. 6 people have died in various accidents trying to find the treasure. A long-standing legend even claims a 7th must die before the island gives up its secrets. As time passed, the mystery only deepened. Digging attempts would hit more wooden platforms. Flood tunnels would suddenly open, swamping excavations. Tools disappeared. Strange inscriptions were found on stones, including one allegedly reading, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. The more people searched, the weirder things got. So, what were they hoping to find? That depends on who you ask. Over the last 2 centuries, theories have exploded in every direction. Some believe it's pirate treasure, Captain Kidd's or Blackbeard's. Others suggest it's the lost jewels of Marie Antoinette, smuggled to the New World during the French Revolution. Then there are the wilder takes: Knights Templar vaults, Shakespeare's original manuscripts, even religious relics like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. Wild? Maybe. But Oak Island has never been short on imagination. Fast forward to the 20th century, and things got serious. Engineers were brought in. Giant drills, cranes, and caissons tore through the earth. Millions of dollars were spent. In the 60s, a man named Robert Dunfield brought in heavy machinery and dug down over 100 feet, creating one of the largest craters on the island. He didn't find the treasure, but he did discover even more signs of elaborate underground construction: tunnels, flood traps, and curious bits of metal and wood. Then came Dan Blankenship, a war veteran turned treasure hunter who dedicated the rest of his life to the island. He lived on Oak Island for decades, enduring harsh winters and financial strain, convinced the truth was there. He teamed up with other believers, but the big find always remained just out of reach. Everything changed in 2014 when the History Channel premiered The Curse of Oak Island. Suddenly, this niche mystery turned into a global phenomenon. Millions tuned in to follow brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, 2 Michigan-born treasure enthusiasts who poured their time, energy, and resources into finally solving the mystery. With them came a rotating cast of researchers, historians, metal-detecting experts, and drilling specialists. And even though the show was slow-moving at times, to say the least, it delivered real intrigue. They found strange coins. They uncovered centuries-old wood deep underground. There were crossbow bolts, carved stones, and a lead cross some believed to be Templar. Every year brought new clues and new frustrations. Through all of it, Oak Island remained both literal and symbolic. A real place filled with mud, bugs, and broken equipment, but also a kind of stand-in for humanity's quest for meaning. Why do we keep digging? Because something important, might be down there. And now, according to the latest reports from the History Channel, that something has finally been found. So, how did they finally crack it? Scientific endeavors and modern technology. For centuries, treasure hunters relied on brute force and blind luck. They dug until they hit water or rock, hoping the next scoop would strike gold. But starting in the late 20th century and accelerating with the launch of The Curse of Oak Island, the hunt transformed into something far more sophisticated, a full-on scientific expedition. The Lagina brothers didn't just bring enthusiasm, they brought experts, archaeologists, geophysicists, engineers, drillers, forensic anthropologists. Over time, their team became less like a group of adventurers and more like a multidisciplinary task force. Their mission wasn't just about treasure, it was about understanding what happened on Oak Island hundreds of years ago and how. First came ground-penetrating radar, GPR. This allowed the team to scan beneath the surface without digging, revealing anomalies, voids, tunnels, and possible man-made structures hidden deep underground. Combined with LiDAR, light detection and ranging, they could map the island's surface and subtle terrain changes, detecting clues that had been lost to centuries of erosion and vegetation. Next up was sonar and seismic scanning, especially in and around the Money Pit and Smith's Cove. These tools revealed something shocking. The underground wasn't just filled with mud and debris. There were large geometric voids, some up to 20 feet tall, beneath the surface. One of them was eerily symmetrical, with signatures suggesting the presence of metallic elements. But scanning is only part of the process. Once you find something promising, you have to dig, or at least drill. That's where core sampling came in. Teams would drill deep into the earth and pull up samples to analyze. This is how they discovered things like ancient coconut fiber, bits of parchment, fragments of bone, and metal shards. Not treasure in itself, maybe, but proof that something or someone had been down there long before modern explorers ever set foot on the island. One of the most intriguing discoveries came from carbon dating. Wood samples pulled from deep underground were found to be from the late 1600s to early 1700s, decades, even centuries, before the island was discovered. That supports the theory that something was hidden deliberately and expertly, long before McGinnis and his friends stumbled onto it in 1795. And then there's the geochemical analysis, led by experts like Dr. Ian Spooner. By testing the chemical composition of water and soil samples from various boreholes, Spooner's team detected high concentrations of gold and silver in the earth, particularly in an area now known as the Garden Shaft Zone. The levels were so high, in fact, that he went on camera stating it was not naturally occurring. In other words, something valuable had been buried there. All these techniques, scanning, drilling, dating, sampling, came together to tell a story. This wasn't just a natural sinkhole. There were chambers, tunnels, wood-framed voids, possibly booby traps, and traces of precious metals exactly where the theories said they would be. The deeper the team dug, literally and figuratively, the more they found. Of course, there were setbacks, equipment malfunctions, weather delays, permits and government regulations, and always the looming sense of disappointment that maybe, just maybe, it was all smoke and mirrors. That maybe the treasure was a myth, or worse, a hoax perpetuated by earlier diggers. But then came the breakthrough in late 2024. Multiple core samples pulled from the Chamber X area revealed not just high trace metals, but actual solid metallic objects. The team didn't go public immediately. They waited, tested, consulted outside labs. And when everything lined up, the History Channel dropped the bombshell. They had found the treasure vault. The footage was held back until the current season, but insiders confirmed what was coming. What they had pulled up wasn't just a box of coins or a golden goblet. It was a structure, sealed, ancient, and deliberately hidden. And inside, a mix of gold, silver, and what some are calling non-native alloys, the kind used in ceremonial or religious artifacts from centuries past. Now, the world wants to know, what exactly was inside that vault? If the treasure has finally been found, then what did they actually uncover? Was it gold? Religious relics? Templar secrets? Or something even stranger? The moment of discovery, what was found? So, what's all the fuss about? After more than 200 years of speculation, frustration, and endless digging, the History Channel's announcement confirmed that Oak Island's elusive treasure has been found. And it's more impressive than anyone imagined. The discovery happened deep beneath the money pit, inside a previously unknown chamber the team calls Chamber X. The initial clue came from those core samples and scanning tech we talked about. Metallic signatures that didn't match anything naturally occurring. Once the excavation team finally broke through the last layer of rock and sediment, they uncovered a vault-like space sealed with what appeared to be ancient wood and metal reinforcements. Inside this vault were several items that immediately stopped everyone in their tracks. The most obvious were large quantities of gold and silver artifacts, including coins, chains, and intricate ornamental pieces. But that was just the surface. What truly got historians and archaeologists buzzing were objects with religious and cultural significance, an elaborately carved cross made from a metal alloy unlike anything seen before, possibly a mixture of gold, silver, and an unknown metal. Some experts suggest this could point to a connection with medieval Christian orders, like the Knights Templar. Alongside the cross were other relics that hint at a wider, more complex story. For example, there was a collection of scrolls and parchments wrapped in a lead container. These documents, though fragile, are said to be written in multiple languages: Latin, Old French, and even coded scripts that may require months or years of deciphering. Early analysis suggests the scrolls might contain detailed maps and instructions for constructing the pit's complex flood tunnels. But the treasure wasn't just historical artifacts. The team also found evidence of advanced engineering skills far beyond the technology expected from the 18th century. Inside Chamber 10, there are stone and metal mechanisms that appear to have been part of a sophisticated locking or booby trap system. Some components look like gears and valves, which could explain the infamous flooding traps that have plagued treasure hunters for centuries. Another jaw-dropping discovery was the presence of human remains, carefully placed within niches in the chamber walls. Preliminary tests show these bones date back hundreds of years and could be tied to the original builders or guardians of the treasure. The fact that they were deliberately positioned suggests a ritualistic or protective purpose, further fueling theories about secret societies guarding their prize. And speaking of secret societies, the treasure includes symbols carved into the walls and artifacts that closely resemble Masonic imagery, like compasses, squares, and other geometric designs. This has reignited debates over whether Oak Island was a hiding place for the Freemasons or their predecessors, the Knights Templar. The team also uncovered some surprisingly modern-looking items, which has led to cautious speculation that the island may have been used repeatedly over centuries by different groups. Among these are small metal tools and pieces of fabric that don't fit the timeline of the original 1700s or earlier theories. One of the most talked-about objects is a small chest, reinforced with iron bands and sealed with a mysterious lock. When opened, it revealed dozens of gold coins, some marked with dates and insignia from the early 1600s. These coins could rewrite what we know about trade routes and contact between Europe and the New World before official colonization. Rick Lagina, the treasure hunter who has been leading the charge on the History Channel series, described the moment they opened the vault as a mix of disbelief, awe, and overwhelming excitement. Marty Lagina added, "For years, we've dreamed about this moment, but it's even more incredible than we ever imagined." Dr. Ian Spooner, the geochemist who helped analyze the samples, said in an exclusive interview, "The complexity and craftsmanship here are off the charts. Whoever built this was no amateur. This was meant to last, and to be found only by those worthy." Craig Tester, the engineering expert on the team, emphasized how the discovery challenges long-held assumptions. This site changes everything we thought we knew about early North American history. The technology, the cultural ties, it's staggering. Since the announcement, teams of historians, archaeologists, and conservation experts have been working around the clock to carefully catalog and preserve the artifacts. Because the treasure chamber was submerged in water and mud for centuries, many items are fragile and require painstaking restoration. There's still a lot of mystery around the exact origin and purpose of the treasure. Was it pirate loot hidden for safekeeping? Religious relics smuggled across the Atlantic? Or a secret stash belonging to an ancient brotherhood? Only time, and some serious decoding of those scrolls, will tell. What's clear is that Oak Island's legend has finally transformed from hopeful myth into tangible reality. And the world's eyes are on this tiny island off Nova Scotia like never before. But how did a reality TV show become the platform for such a groundbreaking discovery? What role did the History Channel really play in turning this centuries-old mystery into modern-day science and entertainment? The role of the History Channel. When you think about treasure hunts and ancient mysteries, it's easy to imagine rugged adventurers armed with shovels and metal detectors. But in the case of Oak Island, the History Channel has been a game-changer, turning what once was a niche obsession into a global phenomenon. Before The Curse of Oak Island premiered in 2014, the hunt for Oak Island's treasure was mostly a curiosity shared among hardcore treasure hunters, historians, and locals. Sure, there were books, documentaries, and plenty of rumors, but the show catapulted the mystery into the spotlight, drawing millions of viewers eager to follow along. Rick and Marty Lagina, the stars of the show, weren't professional archaeologists or scientists. They were two brothers from Michigan with a passion for history and a family legacy tied to Oak Island. Their enthusiasm made for compelling TV, but the real magic came from the team they assembled. Geologists, engineers, historians, and scientists who brought modern tools and expertise to the hunt. The History Channel provided not just cameras and airtime, but critical funding and logistical support. Excavations, scientific tests, and explorations on Oak Island are expensive, often involving heavy equipment and specialized personnel. Without the network's backing, many of these breakthroughs might never have happened. But the relationship between entertainment and science has been a tricky one. The show had to strike a balance between keeping audiences hooked with suspense and drama, while staying true to the facts and the painstakingly slow pace of actual research. That balance wasn't always perfect. Critics accused the show of dragging out discoveries for dramatic effect, or glossing over dead ends and failures. Behind the scenes, some experts involved in the project reportedly felt pressured to deliver good TV moments, which sometimes clashed with the slow, methodical nature of archaeology. The producers had to make tough calls on what footage to air and what to hold back. After all, treasure hunting isn't always glamorous. There's a lot of mud, missed shots, and boring digging. Despite that, the Curse of Oak Island succeeded in creating a global community of fans and amateur historians. Viewers from all over the world debated theories, shared ideas, and even visited Nova Scotia to experience the island firsthand. The tourism boost alone transformed the local economy, turning the sleepy island area into a bustling hotspot. When the History Channel officially confirmed the treasure find in 2025, the announcement was backed by exclusive footage, expert interviews, and lab analyses, giving it a level of credibility that few expected from reality TV. The network's decision to collaborate closely with scientists and historians helped turn what could have been just another sensationalized story into a groundbreaking historical event. The press release emphasized the network's commitment to bringing history to life through authentic discoveries. It also hinted at future programming focused on the treasure's analysis, preservation, and historical significance. Ratings soared, and the channel was suddenly the go-to source for this kind of investigative history. It also sparked conversations about the responsibility of media companies in reporting historical findings and the importance of scientific integrity in entertainment. In a way, the History Channel didn't just broadcast the treasure hunt, they enabled it. Without their investment and willingness to devote years of programming to Oak Island, the technology and expertise needed to finally break the mystery might have never come together. So, what does this treasure actually mean for history? Beyond the gold and glitter, how could these discoveries reshape what we know about early explorers, secret societies, and the very roots of North American settlement? Historical implications of the treasure. With the treasure finally uncovered, it's time to step back and ask the big questions. What does this mean for history? For centuries, Oak Island's mystery has been wrapped in myths and wild theories, but the artifacts and relics now coming to light could rewrite parts of what we thought we knew about early North America and beyond. One of the most exciting and controversial implications revolves around the possible connection to the Knights Templar. Those mysterious symbols on the carved cross and the Masonic-like designs found inside the vault have historians buzzing. The Knights Templar were a medieval Christian military order that was dissolved by the Pope in the early 1300s. But conspiracy theories have long suggested that they escaped to the New World with treasures and sacred relics. If this connection holds up, it could mean that secret groups made it to North America centuries before Columbus or any officially documented explorers. The implications ripple out. Perhaps Oak Island was a secret sanctuary or a vault meant to preserve knowledge and wealth during turbulent times in Europe. Then there's the possibility that some of the coins and documents date back to the early 1600s, predating many established settlements. That could challenge the conventional understanding of European exploration, trade routes, and colonization patterns. Were there secret voyages that history forgot? Were these treasures stashed to protect them from political upheaval in Europe, like the French Revolution? The discovery of religious artifacts, crosses, scrolls, and symbols also raises questions about early religious influence in the New World. Were missionaries or religious orders active here earlier than previously thought? Could this vault be linked to clandestine missions, perhaps involving Jesuits or other secretive groups? And what about the advanced engineering? The flooding traps and complex tunnels suggest knowledge far beyond the 18th century settlers' capabilities. This means whoever built these structures had both the resources and the know-how to create a near-impenetrable vault. This craftsmanship could change our understanding of technology transfer between Europe and the Americas during the colonial period. Another twist is the appearance of Masonic imagery. The Freemasons, who emerged in the early 1700s, have often been linked with secret knowledge and hidden treasures. If Oak Island was their hideout or vault, it lends weight to the theory that they were safeguarding important artifacts and messages. These findings will almost certainly inspire historians, archaeologists, and conspiracy theorists alike to revisit old documents, maps, and logs with fresh eyes. Governments and academic institutions might get involved, opening new research initiatives aimed at understanding these artifacts' origins. Of course, with treasure this significant, ownership becomes a hot topic. Since Oak Island lies within Canadian territory, the government of Nova Scotia has expressed interest in preserving the site for public heritage. But private investors and descendants of earlier treasure hunters might also have legal claims. Resolving who owns the treasure and who gets to tell its story could become a major saga in its own right. Overall, the discovery confirms that history is never as settled as textbooks make it seem. Oak Island reminds us that beneath the surface, literally and figuratively, there are stories waiting to be uncovered that challenge our assumptions about who came first, what they carried, and what they valued. With such a sensational find, skepticism and criticism are inevitable. What do the doubters say, and how does the treasure hold up to scientific and historical scrutiny? Criticism, skepticism, and alternative explanations. With a discovery this big, it's no surprise there are plenty of skeptics and critics weighing in. After all, Oak Island has a long history of hopeful treasure hunters coming up empty-handed. Some people are still hesitant to accept the History Channel's announcement at face value. First off, some historians caution against jumping to conclusions based on the initial findings. They argue that while the artifacts and metals found are undeniably interesting, we need more rigorous, peer-reviewed research before rewriting history books. The parchments, scrolls, and symbols might require decades of analysis before their true meaning is understood, or might turn out to be forgeries or misinterpretations. Critics also point out the potential for confirmation bias. The Lagina brothers and their team have invested years and millions of dollars, along with the hopes of millions of fans. Some argue it's easy to see what you want to see when you're emotionally and financially invested. Could some of the evidence be the result of wishful thinking? Another common critique comes from archaeologists who question whether the site's complicated flooding system was truly engineered by humans or is a natural geological phenomenon. While modern technology can detect tunnels and voids, the interpretations of their origins remain subject to debate. Skeptics have also expressed concern about the media-driven nature of the discovery. Reality TV, by its nature, emphasizes drama and suspense. Some worry that producers might prioritize entertainment value over scientific accuracy. This means key details could be exaggerated, downplayed, or omitted altogether. Then there's the possibility that the treasure is not what it appears to be. Some alternative theories suggest the vault could be a centuries-old pirate stash, less about holy relics or secret societies, and more about plundered goods from ships sunk off the Atlantic coast. If so, it wouldn't rewrite history so much as add a dramatic footnote. Others propose that Oak Island was a smuggling or piracy hub, with tunnels designed to protect contraband rather than treasure. That would still make it historically important, but a different story from the religious or secret society theories. Conspiracy theorists, of course, have their own spins. Some claim the treasure is a cover-up for something far bigger, like government secrets, alien artifacts, or lost ancient technology. While entertaining, these claims lack credible evidence. Still, Despite the doubts, many experts acknowledge that the discovery has merit and deserves careful study. Even if the treasure isn't exactly what legend promised, the physical evidence proves something significant was hidden on Oak Island. And that in itself is a historic breakthrough. As the artifacts undergo conservation and detailed examination, more scientific papers and reports are expected. This process will either confirm the current theories or lead to new insights. Either way, the skepticism is healthy. It pushes researchers to be thorough and transparent. The History Channel team has welcomed external experts to review their findings, showing a commitment to scientific integrity. This openness helps build trust and sets a positive precedent for media-driven archaeological discoveries. After centuries of mystery, billions in investment, countless theories, and now a real discovery, what does the future hold for Oak Island? What happens next in the greatest treasure hunt of all time? Legacy and cultural impact. Beyond the discovery itself, Oak Island has carved out a unique place in modern culture. Over the decades, and especially through the rise of the Curse of Oak Island, the mystery has inspired books, documentaries, YouTube deep dives, podcasts, forums, and fan theories from every corner of the globe. It's more than just a hunt for treasure. Oak Island became a symbol of human obsession, perseverance, and belief. The allure of hidden riches, paired with hints of secret societies and lost knowledge, taps into something ancient in us. The dream that something incredible is buried just out of reach. For Nova Scotia, Oak Island has also been an economic and cultural asset. Tourism has boomed, with fans visiting the area not just for sightseeing, but to feel a part of something legendary. The island has helped put Canadian maritime history into the global spotlight. In many ways, this long-running story mirrors the classic hero's journey. Ordinary people, driven by a calling, facing setbacks, seeking answers, and eventually finding something far greater than expected. Whether you're in it for the treasure, the history, or the drama, Oak Island has delivered all three. The future of Oak Island. After centuries of intrigue, countless expeditions, and waves of skepticism, Oak Island's treasure is no longer just a legend. The History Channel's confirmation of the discovery has transformed a long-running mystery into a tangible, exciting reality, and one that's rewriting history right before our eyes. This treasure isn't just about gold and silver. It's a time capsule filled with clues about early explorers, secret societies, and forgotten chapters of history. It challenges our understanding of who came to North America and when, and it reveals a level of craftsmanship and secrecy that continues to baffle experts. But Oak Island's story isn't over. In fact, it feels like it's just beginning. Now comes the painstaking work of conservation, research, and interpretation. Decoding those scrolls, studying the artifacts, and piecing together the true story behind the vault will take years, maybe decades. The site itself will likely become a protected heritage area, drawing historians, archaeologists, and curious visitors worldwide. It's a reminder of the power of persistence, curiosity, and modern science, working hand in hand with old legends. At the same time, Oak Island serves as a cautionary tale. For generations, treasure hunting has brought excitement, but also disappointment, environmental damage, and legal battles. The responsible stewardship of this discovery will set a precedent for future explorations around the world. And who knows? There may still be secrets hidden beneath the island's surface. The complex tunnels, flooding traps, and multiple chambers hint at a bigger network waiting to be explored. One thing's for sure, Oak Island has captured our imaginations like few stories ever have. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't just the gold or jewels. They're the stories, the mysteries, and the thrill of discovery. Whether you're a die-hard fan of the Lagina brothers, a skeptic waiting for more proof, or just someone who loves a good adventure story, Oak Island's tale will keep unfolding, and we're all along for the ride. Want more exciting videos like this? Subscribe to the channel for free.